Okay, welcome to your upper back flexibility work. Okay, so we're going to mobilize the thoracic area, we call it, which is this upper back section across here. So we've got our lumbar, which is our lower back, and then up is this thoracic area. This thoracic area we need to unlock so it enables to twist and turn whilst maintaining that pelvis nice and still. Now that brings in loads of functionality to our movement patterns, but for running this enables us to twist and turn a little bit with our upper body whilst maintaining the power and the drive through from the glutes and the hips. If you're experiencing a little bit of lower back pain, then this can be often because our thoracic area isn't flexible and rotational enough to be able to cope with the demands. Also, when we're sitting down at desks all the time, we tend to shoulder forwards with our shoulders when we're driving, looking at our mobile phones, whatever it might be. So these exercises really help to reset this particular area. The flexibility and rotational means that all those shoulder muscles which attach around the back and into the spine there, if we get that good rotation, our shoulders are able to fall back into the correct position, often meaning if you've got any shoulder or joint problems, we can reset that as well. So let's go through these exercises which we're going to go for today, and we're going to start off with what we call the Zenith rotation. Here we're just going to sit straight down into an ankle sit position. Okay, so we're just going to sit nicely back onto our ankles. We don't have to worry too much because we're going to shift the weight forward onto our hands, okay, and this just enables our pelvis to sit and be locked in position, because like we talked about, we want to keep the pelvis still and then rotate the upper back area into that thoracic area. So we're going to have one hand on the temple, and then we're going to push down with the opposite hand. So that hand on the floor, I'm driving down into the ground to cause a rotation round to the other side, and we go as far as you can with a nice deep breath out, and then come back down to a neutral position and then breathe out again. Seems really simple, but it can be incredibly effective to unlock that rotational movement through that upper back area. And you're going to do 10 reps like so, okay? Then we're just going to move the hand to the back once you've done 10 into that position. Okay, so it's just resting on the back, and we're going to lift through the shoulder. So don't try and pull the elbow around the corner, try and pull the shoulder around the corner, and this just helps to release that subscapular. So I'm still pushing down with that hand to cause a bit of tension so I can get that extra movement that you wouldn't do normally. And this is a fantastic way, like I say, to hold the pelvis into position and do it. So I'd just go straight onto the other side, and I'd do 10 reps, rotating out, breathe out on the way up, and then back in the way back down, just so we get that extra twist and turn into that position. Place a hand onto the back and then do the same again. We're just doing 10 more repetitions where we're driving across into that position, and that'll start to feel really nice. Okay, it just loosens up that lower back, gets that thoracic movement into there. Next one, we're going to go into this bridge press, this reverse bridge press, which just gets a little bit more rotation through the shoulders as well. So here we're going to come back onto your glutes and hips. Okay, we're going to have the hands down by the side of us and have them a little bit wider than shoulder width, with the fingers pointing slightly backwards. Okay, so you're in that position, and then what we're going to do is we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and we're going to push the hips up. Okay, once you're there, we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and then we're going to come back down. Here we're really learning to engage the back of the muscle groups, and also we're going to get into that position where we're stretching out the top of the chest as well. So we're trying to open up the chest muscle groups, the pectorals, at the same time as squeezing in. Okay, now if you find that one quite comfortable and you're quite stable, we can just increase the intensity by just moving one arm up into the air and then stretch over. Okay, so what you're going to do is the same position, so practice that one a couple of times, see how you go, and then if you can, move on to this next stage where we're going to go up and then we're going to rotate round. And this is fantastic to build in shoulder stability, but also that rotational fact of that shoulder strength and flexibility in there. So what I'm doing is I'm driving up, I'm squeezing my glutes as hard as I can. As I get to that point, I'm stretching over and I'm trying to get the hand over on there. If you've got incredible flexibility, you'll be able to elevate the hips much higher than I can, but even so, we're getting some good rotational movement through the shoulder there. Okay, so I'll just show you quickly on the other side. We're just getting to that position. I push my glutes up and I squeeze my glutes as hard as I can, and then I twist and I reach over to the opposite side. So I'm coming over into that position. Nice slow movements. Breathe out on the way up, back in on the way back down, and that breath really helps us move on to that next plane of action or movement pattern into there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're just going to go back into this crab position, and here we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together and we're going to slide the hips in, okay, and then come back out. So we're just adding a little bit more movement to this. So you can see that I'm keeping my hips relatively low and I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together in that pattern here. So we're trying to extend the thoracic spine, we're squeezing the shoulder blades together, and we're patting the chest like we did do before with the elevation, but just that rotation forwards or that slide vertical horizontal forwards makes a big difference to the ability of the chest and the pectorals to stretch, which also allows us to have more rotational movement and sit better in a better position with our shoulders. Okay, so the next one we're going to do is downward dog, but we're going to really focus on squeezing the shoulder blades in together and extending away. So it's less of a calf stretch and a hamstring stretch, which we normally do with a down dog, but we're going to start to elevate the shoulders and get the shoulders involved. So we start off in a normal press up standard position, and then here I want you to push down with the hands and then push away into that position there. Okay, so I'm not driving down with my heels. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to overextend. So I'm trying to push my shoulders to that position, and then I'm pushing them out as far as I possibly can to get that overextension through a little bit of tension. Okay, once I'm there, what I'm going to do is I'm pushing up the ground as hard as I can. I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together, pushing my chest towards the thighs. Okay, so in that position, and there I overextend. Okay, and then from that position I'm going to just pulse my chest in towards my thighs. You can even have the knees a little bit bent so we don't feel so much of a stretch through the calves, so you can focus on those shoulder blades moving in and out of that action. Okay, so I'm there, I push, and then I squeeze my shoulder blades together, by driving my chest towards my thighs whilst up into that position. And again, that's a great way to start to build some strength and mobility through that area. If you want to get that calf stretch in at the same time, then it's a good way of just lengthening the calves and the hamstrings, drive those heels down into the ground at the same time in that downward dog, and you really get in that position. But today I want you to mainly focus on how the shoulders are moving and sliding in those positions. Great, okay, so have a little experiment with that. That thoracic mobility, upper spine mobility is so important for functional movement. Getting into our running, hiking, getting out there into the wilderness, it makes a big difference if we've got that ability to be able to have the shoulders sat in the right position, but also the flexibility and strength through that range of motion. Take care, and we'll speak soon.